Iranians and Israelis woke to smoke and rubble with Israel striking Tehran's defense ministry and Iran unleashing a deadly barrage of missiles on Israel. Air raid sirens and explosions were heard in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv as Israel's military said that millions of Israelis were running for shelter around the country. Israel's emergency services have said that at least 10 people, including children, were killed in the overnight strikes and around 200 were wounded. In Bat Yam, outside of Tel Aviv, Israeli first responders wearing helmets and headlamps combed through the rubble of a building struck by an Iranian missile. 2 women, aged 69 and 80, a girl and a 10-year-old boy, are among the 6 killed, while about 100 others have been wounded. Some 20 people are still feared to be missing. In northern Israel's Tamra, 4 women were killed after a missile struck a 2-story house. Now, while in the Shalfla region, west of Jerusalem, another 37 people were wounded. Now, Israel, on the other hand, struck Iran's Shahran oil depot in capital Tehran. A large plume of smoke was seen billowing into the sky from the raging fire. Israel also claimed to have hit the headquarters of the Iranian Defense Ministry in Tehran. According to Iranian media, the Center for Development Research and Foresight, a science and technology research center, was also attacked by Israel. Footage provided from the Iranian Red Crescent Society showed rescuers moving through the rubble inside a damaged building. And for more on this, we're now being joined live by Jane Kinnenmont from London. She's the acting director at the European Leadership Network and West Asia expert. Thank you so much, Jane, for joining us on the broadcast on WION World is One.
Good to speak.
Jane, so far the conflict seems to be a showdown directly between Israel and Iran. But if the US were to step into the fray more openly, how could this change the game and also raise the stakes for everyone involved?
There is still potential for things to escalate further, and it's important that so far the US has been saying that it's not directly involved. That means Iran still has something left to lose, and it could still be restrained in the way that it is retaliating. Right now, as you're showing, Iran is striking Israel directly, but its missile capability has been degraded by the Israeli strikes. Its other options basically are to widen the war by attacking others. Now, that could include, based on things we've seen in the past, attacking American bases in the Middle East. Some of those are in the wealthy Gulf states who will be very nervous right now. Iran could also attack those Gulf states directly, potentially hurting their energy infrastructure or other key economic targets. You can just imagine the kind of impact that could have on an economy like the UAE. Iran could disrupt shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, and it could turn to terrorist-style attacks globally. In the past, it has been alleged that the Revolutionary Guard at one point even plotted to try to assassinate Donald Trump. So there are all these scary options. At the same time, Iran knows that any of these would risk bringing others into the war against it, especially the US. It may feel that right now it doesn't want to alienate its Gulf neighbours either. So things are very uncertain.
Right, Jane, and now to expand on some of the key points that you've touched upon here, there's been speculation about Prime Minister Netanyahu trying to pull Washington further into this conflict, and reports suggest that top Pentagon officials right now are divided over the extent of US military support for Israel. Now it leads us to two very important questions. First, of course, if Trump does get involved, what would this mean for the United States? And also, what would be the circumstance which could lead the United States to get drawn into the conflict?
It depends what the aim is of this war. Is this a war that is meant to deter and disrupt Iran's nuclear program and stop it potentially going down the route of weaponization, something that most governments thought hadn't happened yet? Or is it a war that is actually designed to trigger regime change? And this is somewhat unclear. It has gone beyond strikes on military facilities. It has also so far included killing Iranian military leaders and nuclear scientists, and also one of the top advisors to the supreme leader. It seems that Israel is also trying to send a message, including through the media, that even the assassination of the supreme leader could be possible. What we don't know really is there actually a desire to topple this regime in Iran, which Israel sees as its primary security threat? Or is there really reluctance to go that far? Because also no one knows what would come next in such a scenario. There's a lot of rhetoric from Israel about the freedom of the Iranian people, a lot of Western support for human rights in Iran, but it's not really clear that any governments really expect that if this regime was taken out, there would be a simple, smooth transition to democracy. There's a lot of potential for chaos here. So how much appetite for chaos do the US and Israel currently have?
Right, Jane, and you've rightly pointed that it's very important to ascertain the aim of the conflict right now. And we know that Israeli attacks have dealt a significant blow to Iran's nuclear and military capabilities, and this pressure may continue for the days to come. Now, while these strikes are meant to undermine Iran's ability to respond and also destabilize its leadership from within, some experts have warned that it may backfire, possibly prompting Iran to accelerate its nuclear program instead. And do you think the attacks have set Iran back, or could they have unintentionally spurred it to pursue a nuclear weapon more quickly?
Both things are true, because definitely Iran's nuclear program has been disrupted. It has not been destroyed. And Iran have been in the middle of talks with the US to reach a new bargain on its nuclear program. So as far as the Iranian government was concerned, they would say they were already offering to compromise and to ensure that they didn't obtain a nuclear weapon. So there are voices in Iran saying that if they're going to be attacked anyway, perhaps they would have been better off going down the nuclear route. At the moment, that's still at the level of rhetoric. Iran remains inside the nuclear non-proliferation treaty. It hasn't said that it's going to withdraw from that treaty. If it does that, that would be one of the signals of things getting much worse. And we don't know what capacity they have now to try to build a bomb. But the question is, over several years, if we see the same political system in Iran intact, will they actually think that that is the route that they need to go down? So there's a short-term issue and a long-term issue here.
Right, Jane, and having said that, do you think Iran would return to the negotiating table for the sixth round of nuclear talks? Or are we potentially looking at a Russia-Ukraine war scenario here? As experience would have it, even they had an early negotiation deal on the table, but subsequently that had faltered, and the results are before us. What's your take on that?
Talks were supposed to be happening today, brokered by Oman. That they had reached some difficulties, but there was still potential to try to get through those difficulties. Negotiations always hit sticky points. It wasn't at all clear to observers that the talks had failed. Otherwise, why were these top officials going to actually bother wasting their time to meet in Oman today? Right now, Iran would see it as humiliating to have direct talks with the US while it is under fire. But here, other countries could help. And this is where the potential role of the BRICS is very interesting. Putin already called Trump yesterday to offer, among other things, to mediate between Israel and Iran. And although obviously he's engaged in his own war, in this context, he is someone that has relations with both of the leaders. So too, of course, does India and Modi. So I am curious as to whether India might also be able to play a role in de-escalating, knowing that it also has important economic interests in the Persian Gulf region.
Right, Jane. Please stay with us. We're going to come back and discuss this in greater detail with you. But we have a breaking news just coming in. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said that Iran would cease its retaliatory strikes if Israel halts attack on Iran. While speaking to Iranian state television, Araghchi said, and I'm quoting him here, "If the aggression stops, it is natural that our reaction will also stop." Let's listen in to what he had to say. Well, in the latest that we're getting from the simmering tensions in West Asia, now Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said that Iran would cease its retaliatory strikes if Israel halts attack on Iran. Now, speaking to Iranian state television, Araghchi had said, and I'm quoting him here, "If the aggression stops, it is natural that our reactions will also stop."
We are defending ourselves. This defense is entirely legitimate. We are defending with strength and resolve, and our response is a reaction to aggression. Therefore, if the aggression stops, naturally, our responses will also cease.
Shane, I'd like to come back to you and get your reaction on the latest that we're getting from Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, who has said that Iran would cease its retaliatory strikes if Israel halts its attacks on Iran. What do you have to say on that?
This seems to be a very important statement that does represent an opportunity for countries to try to step in and do the kind of mediation that we've just been talking about, an international effort that would have to go beyond the US and involve some countries that have more trust from both Iran and from Israel. It seems that Iran is trying to signal that it doesn't want this to go down an escalatory spiral that could be very damaging for all concerned. It will also be trying to ensure that the world remembers that in this particular round of conflict between Israel and Iran, it was Israel that attacked Iran. Not to say that Iran is wholly innocent. It has obviously positioned itself against Israel in a very threatening way for quite a long time. But this is an opportunity that should be seized as quickly as possible.
Right. Thank you so much, Jane, for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your perspective with us.